Hey guys, today what we're going to be doing is I am going to be going over lesson number 32, simple solutions. So go ahead and get that out. You can check your answers. You can double check just a few if you if you struggle with just a couple of them. So on number 1, we have 86 and 119,000, and we'll be rounding to the nearest tenth. Well, the digit that's in the tenth place is this one here. My neighbor is a 1. So I ask myself 4 or less or 5 or more. Well, it's 4 or less, so we let it rest. So the 1 will stay the same. Everything in front stays the same. Everything behind turns into zeros. Number 2, we have 8,329, and we're dividing this by 9. What I like to do is go ahead and skip count by whatever I'm dividing by, so I already have that listed out. So over here on the edge, I'm going to skip count. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81. So what I'm going to do first is see, well, how many times will 9 go into 8? 9 cannot go into 8. So then I'll do how many times will 9 go into 83? Well, right here is 81, which takes 9 times. So 9 times 9 is 81. 83 minus 81 is 2. I'll bring down my other 2. How many times will 9 go into 22? Well, 27 is too much, so I will do 18, which takes 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18. 22 minus 18 is 4. Bring down my other 9. How many times will 9 go into 49? Well, 54 is too much, so I will do 45, which takes 5 times. 5 times 9 is 45. 49 minus 45 is 4. I have nothing else to bring down, so this 4 is considered my remainder. So remainder 4. So 8,329 divided by 9 is 925, remainder 4. All right, let's go ahead to number 3. Number 3 says a regular polygon has equal sides and equal angles. Which polygon is a regular triangle? So I'm going to share with you this paper. So let's go ahead and look at these. So a regular polygon has equal sides and equal angles. So you need to look at each of these triangles to ask yourself that. So this first one, equal sides, equal angles. Well, it's kind of hard to tell that if the sides are equal, but I know that the angles are not equal because this one right here is a right angle, so that's a no. This one, I can automatically tell the sides are not equal. This one, I can tell that this side right here is much shorter than the other two, so that is not equal sides. Now, this last one has equal sides and equal angles, so right there is my regular polygon. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the whiteboard. All right, so let's go ahead and look at number 4. Number 4 is 36 multiplied by 71. So I am going to do these in different colors. So first I'm going to do 36 times 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. I cannot forget my place value holder. So that is a 0. Next, I will be doing the 36 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 is 25. Next, I will add my 25. It's a little wonky. Let me fix it. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 and 2. So 36 times 71 is 2,556. Number 5, write the base 10 number. So when they say base 10 number, what this is standard, pen's acting wonky, just the standard number. Okay, plain old number. So when you look at this, it gives you the digit and then the place value. So let me share the actual page so we can look at it together. So on this one it gives you the digit and then it gives you the place value. So let's just look at hundreds, tens, ones. There will be a decimal. Then you'd have tenths, hundreds, and thousands. So here I have an 8 in the hundreds. So an 8 in the hundreds. Next, you'll have a 6 in the tens. 6 in the tens. Next, you'll have a 2 in the ones. 2 in the ones. 4 in the tenths. 4 in the tenths. 2 in the hundreds. 2 in the hundreds. 6 in the thousands. 6 in the thousands. So for number 5, you would have 862 and 426 thousandths. All right, let's look at number 6. State the rule, then write the next two terms. We went from 19 to 24 to 29, and then we have to come up with the next two numbers. Well, going from 19 to 24 to 29, my numbers are getting larger, so I know I'm adding to that. Well, how much do I add to 19 to get to 24? Well, 19, I'm going to count in my head. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I added 5. So let's see if that works for the next one. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. That is also add 5. So my rule is add 5. Well, then I have to do the next two numbers. So start at 29, add 5. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. So the rule is add 5. The next two numbers are 34 and 39. Let's look at number 7. In Major League Baseball, there are 30 yards between the bases. How many feet is that? So 30 yards between bases. I want to know how many feet that would be. Well, I do not know that right offhand. So this is when we have to convert. So we're trying to find out 30 yards in feet. So we have to convert our yards into feet. So we first need to just find out, well, in 1 yard, how many feet is that? Well, think of a yardstick in the classroom. There are 3 feet in that. So if there are 3 feet in 1 yard, how many feet would be in 30 yards? So to find this, I will do 30 times 3. 0 times 3 is 0. 3 times 3 is 9. So 30 yards is ultimately 90 feet. All right, good job. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. So let's look at number 8. We have 8 and 1/3 minus 2 and 2/3. So when I look at this, when I look at my fractions, it's going to be very hard for me to take 2/3 from 1/3 because that's kind of impossible unless we deal with negatives. And now in 5th grade, we are not doing negatives yet. So I have to look at this as a 5th grader. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a model for my 8 and 1/3. So here's a hole. So there's 1 hole, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I need to draw my 1/3. So really, I would only be using a third. Now what I have to do is take away 2 and 2/3. Well, here's take away 1, take away 2, take away 1/3, but how am I going to take away another third to take away 2/3 total? So what I'm going to have to do is take one of my holes and I'm going to have to split it into thirds and take away only one more because this would be 1/3. Taking away one more would be 2/3. So now let's count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. And there's 1 2/3 left. That would be your answer. So 8 and 1/3 minus 2 and 2/3 is 5 and 2/3. Let's look at number 9. In the number 77,777, they've underlined the thousands place. They want to know how many times as much that is as the place to the left. So we have to think of 70,000 times what would get me to 7,000. Well, you can tell my number is getting smaller. It is not getting bigger. So I know your response automatically is multiply by 10 because that's what we're used to because we were talking about power of 10 before you left. But powers of 10 make my numbers larger, okay? So by making a number smaller, it would be a tenth. 1/10 of 70,000 would be 7,000. Okay, so think of it as when we were talking about discounts. So when we were thinking of discounts, we were thinking of percentages. So if we were taking a tenth of $70,000, that would be 7,000. So that's one way to think of it. So let's do number 10. The kennel boarded many dogs for the holiday weekend. There were 42 dogs that needed to be boarded. Each area, so I'm going to use a square as an area. Each of these areas will hold 5 dogs. How many areas did the kennel need to board all dogs? Well, here's one, that's 5. That's not enough. 2, 10, 20, 30, 35. Wait, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Now, many of you would want to stop here, but that would only hold 40 dogs. I need to hold 42, so I would need another area. Now, I don't technically have 5 more dogs. I only have 2, but they still need that other area. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 areas to hold my 42 dogs. Number 11, choose the numerical expression that represents. So I'm going to share my page with you so you can see what our answers are. So right here, number 11, we are choosing the numerical expression that represents dividing the product of 4 and 9 by 2. So we want the product of 4 and 9. Well, I know this is not a product, that would be sum. This is not product, that would be quotient. This is the product. That is the product of 4 and 9, and then it would be divided by 2. So the correct answer would be C. All right, let's go back. Let's look at number 12. Paul's parents drove home for vacation. On Saturday, Paul's mom drove 5/12 of the trip. Paul's dad drove 3/12 of the trip. How much of the drive did Paul's parents complete on Saturday? So they want a total. So that would be addition. So we want to do 5/12 plus 3/12, which would total 8/12 of the trip. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear this, and let's start on number 13. So on number 13, they have given you 3 and 67/100ths, and we are adding 4 and 12/100ths. All right, so we have to have an estimate, and we have to have an exact. Okay, so with an estimate, I'm going to round to the nearest whole number. So when I look at 3 and 67/100ths, I have to think to myself, is that closest to 3 wholes or 4 wholes? So let me give you a visual of what I think in my brain. My brain thinks of 3 wholes and thinks of 4 wholes. Well, I like to think of the middle. The number directly in the middle of that is 3 and 1/2. Well, when I put 3 and 67/100ths, it would be right about here. Well, is that closer to 4 wholes or 3 wholes? It's closer to 4. So I'll do 4. Then think of 4 and 12/100ths. Well, would that be closest to 4 or 5? So do another number line if you have to, 4 or 5. Directly in the middle would be 4 and 1/2. Well, 4 and 12/100ths would be right about here. So is that closest to 4 or 5? It's closest to 4. And 4 and 4 is 8. So there's your estimate. Then when we do exact, you just have to line up your place values and add. 7 and 2 is 9, 6 and 1 is 7, 3 and 4 is 7. Do not forget your decimal. Don't forget these decimals. So your estimate is 8 wholes. Your exact is 7 and 79/100ths. Let's go ahead and look at 14. We have 7 times 6 divided by 2. This is your order of operations, which we use the acronym PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Guys, I'm sorry, my pen must be running out of battery. It's having a mind of its own. So we start at the top, we work our way down. So P in math is parentheses. I do have a set of parentheses, so I'll solve that first. 7 times 6 is 42, so I replace 7 times 6 with 42, bring down what I did not use, which is divided by 2. So I did parentheses, I had no exponents, no multiplication. I do have division. So 42 divided by 2. If you can't do it offhand, then do it long division-wise. 2 will go into 4 2 times, and 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down your 2. 2 will go into 2 once. 1 times 2 is 2. So 42 divided by 2 is about 21. Number 15, which length is greatest? A half of mile, 1,005 yards, or 2,000 feet? This is another one of those that we need to convert. I'm actually going to clear my entire board so I can do this pretty largely. So this is number 15. So we have a half a mile, we have 1,005 yards, and we have 2,000 feet. What my first task is to find which measurement is smallest. So when we're thinking of just the word mile, yard, and feet, which one of those is the smallest type of measurement? That is feet. So we're going to convert everything into feet. Well, 2,000 feet is already feet, so it's good. Yards, we will convert to feet, and our miles, we will convert to feet. So let's first look at our yards. So let's think of 1 yard. How many feet is in 1 yard? We just did this on number, I can't remember which one it was. Number 7. 1 yard is 3 feet. So if I know that, how many feet will be in 1,005 yards? So we will do 1,005 times that 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 0 times 3 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 0 times 3 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. So 1,005 yards is 3,015 feet. Okay. Next, we have a half a mile is equal to how many feet? Well, how much is 1 mile? How many feet is in 1 mile? All right, so 1 mile, if you do not know, you can look in your Simple Solutions help pages. That is 5,280 feet. Well, I don't need to know how much is in a mile. I just need a half mile. So there's actually 2 different ways you could do this. You could think of it as 5,280 feet divided by 2, because a half is half. So you'd be splitting that 1 mile into half. Or you could do 5,280 and multiply by that half. So how many times will 2 go into 5? That will be 2 times, because 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down that 2. 2 will go into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Bring down your 8. 2 will go into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Bring down my other 0. How many times will 2 go into 0? 0. 0 times 2 is 0. So there is no remainder. So 5,280 divided by 2 is 2,640. Well, let me show you the multiplying. 0 times 5 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 is 26. I cannot forget this decimal. It is 1 place from the end, so I will have mine 1 place from the end. You will notice that my answers are the same. It does not matter to me which way that you did this, just whatever works with your math brain. So ultimately, a half a mile is 2,640 feet. But we are not finished yet because it asked which is greatest. So let's compare our feet. So is 2,640 feet, 3,015 feet, or 2,000 feet greatest? That would be the 3,015 feet, which is the 1,005 yards. So many of you have asked me, okay, well, what do I do on that? So you would say 1,005 yards is greatest. And then when it says explain, just doing your conversions is explanation enough. So do that. Half mile equals 2,640 feet. 1,005 yards equals 3,015 feet. And then 2,000 feet is already in feet. This right here tells me the answer and gives me the explanation. All right, good job, guys.